Have you ever been so completely lost in a movie that for a couple of hours it felt totally real? Well, today we're going to go behind the screen and find out exactly how that magic happens. We're pulling back the curtain on the amazing world of filmmaking. Okay, you know the feeling, right? The movie's over, the big music starts playing, and this endless list of names starts rolling up the screen. And you've probably stood up to leave, but have you ever just stopped for a second and thought, seriously, who are all these people? What do they all do? Well, guess what? Today is the day we find out. It literally takes a small army of super creative and talented people to make a single movie happen. It's this huge team effort. So come on, let's step behind the scenes and meet some of them. All right, so picture this. We've just stepped onto a real live film set. You can feel the energy in the air. This is where all the action happens, where words on a page get turned into the scenes we see on screen. Let's meet the crew. First up, you've got the director. The director is basically the captain of the ship. They have the big vision for what the entire film should be, and it's their job to guide everyone. We're talking actors, camera operators, everyone, to make that vision come to life. They're the ones who make sure the whole team is working towards the exact same goal. And right near the director, you'll find the script supervisor. Think of them as the script's own personal guardian. Their job is all about paying attention to the tiny little details. So let's say an actor is holding a coffee cup in their left hand in one shot. The script supervisor's job is to make sure it's still in their left hand in the very next shot. They watch everything like a hawk, so the story makes perfect sense. And that just goes to show you the script really is the most important thing on set. It's the blueprint, the rule book for the whole movie. Every single person on the crew uses it as their guide to tell the story right. It's everything. And action! Yeah, you've definitely seen one of these before. It's the clapperboard. But it does way more than just look cool. That sharp clap sound it makes, that helps the editor later on to perfectly sync up the sound with the picture. It's a super simple tool that saves a ton of time. So who makes the movie actually look so amazing? That would be the director of photography, or DP for short. This person is the visual artist. They work really closely with the director to use light and shadows and different camera angles to create the perfect mood for every single scene. You know, whether it's a super bright, sunny comedy or a dark, spooky horror movie. And check this out. A makeup artist's job is pretty interesting because it's not always about making people look glamorous. Sure, sometimes they make an actor look absolutely perfect, but other times their job is to make an actor look really tired or sick or even like they've just been in a fight. It's all about making the character totally believable for the story. Okay, so we've seen how a modern crew works, which is so cool. But how did we even get here? To really get what filmmaking is all about, we need to jump in a time machine and go all the way back to the very beginning, to cinema's very first day. So, it all kicked off in France, way back in 1895. These two brothers, the Lumiere brothers, invented this amazing new camera. And the first thing they filmed was super simple, just workers leaving their factory at the end of the day. But when they showed it to an audience in Paris, it was like actual magic. People had never ever seen moving pictures before. They were completely blown away. That right there, that was the moment cinema was born. But here is the craziest part. Louis Lumiere, one of the guys who invented it, actually said this. He thought the whole thing was just a novelty and that people would get bored of it really quickly. It's wild to think that one of the fathers of cinema had absolutely no idea how huge his invention was about to become. Well, obviously, Louis Lumiere was very, very wrong. From that one little film of workers, cinema has just exploded into all the different kinds of stories we have today. We call them genres. So what kind of movies do we all love to watch? So maybe you're like Ahmed. You love the thrill and excitement of action and fantasy movies. You know, you want to be whisked away to these incredible new worlds with strange creatures and heroes saving the day. Or maybe you're more like Sarah. You're all about a good love story. Something that makes you laugh, or a big, spectacular musical with amazing songs and dance numbers. The kind of movie that just leaves you feeling happy. And then there are people like Gabrielle, who love a good mystery, a detective story that keeps you on the edge of your seat, or a cool science fiction film that makes you think about what the future could be like. So, you see, it doesn't matter if it's a giant action movie, a funny romantic comedy, or a brain-bending sci-fi film. The one thing they all have in common is that it takes a massive team effort to bring them to life. It's all about putting all those pieces and all those people together. So really, when you boil it all down, making a movie is kind of like these 4 steps. First, you've got the idea, which gets turned into the script. Step 2, you assemble the team, all those amazing people we met. Then comes step 3, the work, where everyone on set does their part to film the story. And finally, all that incredible teamwork creates step 4, the magic, the final movie that you get to sit back and enjoy. So, from the hustle and bustle of a modern film set all the way back to that very first cinema in Paris, we've seen just how much teamwork goes into creating that movie magic. And now that you've had a peek behind the curtain, I've got one last question for you. If you could make any movie in the world, what kind would it be?